Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and I am playing some Jund Wildfire. We are playing the Gixian Infiltrator version, so being able to have a few more threats in the deck with Chrysalis, Infiltrator, and Refurbs. Kirkland Shaman can grow your Infiltrator for a whole bunch of extra counters while wiping your opponent's board, so hopefully you can hit it for a bunch of damage. We have 4 cast down. We have 1 of a Toxin Analysis, some Spell Bombs, Pulse Marasa, Cleansing Wildfire, Wellspring, your usual Jund Wildfire stuff that you should be used to. And sideboard over here, some Duress, Breath Weapon, Red Elemental Blast, Weather the Storm, Troublemaker Oof, Spell Bomb, and a Crypt Incursion. So, let's take it for a leak and see how we do. Game 2 was rough. All 3 hands were 4 landers, didn't want to go below 5 cards starting. Sam's Desperate Rescue is weird. Some games it didn't come. It comes in clutch and feels incredible, but most decks I run into playing cast downs also have Krark or Galv or both, so probably not worth. Yeah, I mean, you mulligan to 5 both times, I think, which was just, when you're already in one of your bad matchups, definitely not really where you want to be. So a bit unfortunate there. I was caught off guard by the Sam's Desperate Rescue because I was planning to cast down the Carrion Feeder that next turn, and then obviously I couldn't. But I had the Krark, so it didn't end up making that big of a difference. Yeah, I think it's interesting enough that I might want to try it myself, but I do fear that there's enough other removal that it might not be a big deal. I think the best place it's going to shine is Dimir and Golgari decks, because control decks specifically, because those usually play Snuff Out, and it's a great deck to play against them because you're impervious to Snuff Out. And then if you also find a way to be impervious to Cast Down, then what do they do? So that seems really cool. But if you're against Jund or whatever, yeah, it's going to be pretty tough to mess around with. And I do think that Unearth is really strong because it can save you mana if you're unearthing one of your 2 drops. The fact that Sam's is going to cost you 1 mana in addition to whatever their cost is, not saving you any mana, it definitely seems tough. So interesting enough, like I said, to probably give a try in a future league, but I definitely have my concerns with it. Woohoo, another league, yeah. We're gonna play as much as we can. It's Jund, of course, is not the fastest deck ever, and I've got maybe an hour to an hour and a half more, so we might only get through a couple matches, but we'll do what we can. It would help if our opponent could be located. Alright, so round 1 here. We have good mana with a Wildfire, so we're going to keep this one, but we certainly would like to find a Wellspring or something for these guys. Chrysalis for turn 3 would be nice too. So we're going to keep, and we're against something blue. Cast down. Probably not optimal, but could be fun to try bringing back the old Golgari Aristocrats deck with Brindleshout and what have you. Could be a fun vid. Yeah, so I actually have had the same thought. And of course in the Black Sec Discord, there have been some people who have tried to talk about Rakdos or Golgari Sacrifice. I've tested it a little bit, and the mana just makes things so tough because you have to play tap lands or you have to play all basics. And both of those are pretty bad. So there's a lot of drawbacks. It feels like it makes the format's so fast that if you are trying to be an aggro deck like that with 2 colors, it's really tough to make work. But I agree, it's definitely an idea that I have that I am not completely against and would like to do at some point. So probably will. Okay, so we're against Familiars here. Gixian Infiltrator is kind of good. I don't think I'm just going to cast down a Faithful. We can work through the mana or the life that they gain at some point. We could get prohibited here if we play the Infiltrator. That'd be annoying, but I kind of do want to get it down to start gaining some life. Not life, to start dealing some damage. And honestly, the Wellspring's important enough that I actually don't want that to get countered, because I really need it to get these card draw spells off. So I'm just going to lead on the Infiltrator. If they counter it, so be it. And if not, maybe they're fine with it because they can snap it once it gains some counters, and that'd be fine. And yeah, they do negate this. Okay. If we don't find anything else to sacrifice, that could be annoying for sure. Some Japanese crazy madman were sharing screens on Twitter of Glee Brood Scale at home with Blister Pod, Ashnod's Altar, Witness, Glee. Yeah, I know a lot of people were trying to salvage Brood Scale with Witness, and it definitely is something you can try to do. I don't think it's very good, but it could be cool. Meeting of Minds, yeah, they could start getting a ton of life now. That'd be pretty problematic. I still don't think I'm going to cast these down. Toxin could actually be relevant in this match with Krark, but I kind of need to get some stuff going. So I think I'm just going to Toxin here, and it's turn 4, but I haven't played a land. So I could just refurb for 2, but I think I'd rather draw. And yeah, we're sacking the Clue here. Usually you don't want to use one of these effects on a Clue, but it's the artifact we have. I don't want to sack my land. So we hit for 3. We get another Gixian. That's pretty good. We can start adding up our damage quite a bit. Makes it really hard for them to deal with it. Because now if we go like Insight on the map, these both grow. I mean, we'll probably play the refurb first, depending on what we draw, but we got some options. Okay, evoke a Muldrifter. Just looking for lands, I guess. They found it. Forest is fine. I would have preferred an artifact land, obviously, but we'll play that. I'm just going to play the refurb and then insight the map token here. I mean, the good news is that they just haven't been able to commit to the board very much. Discard another Faithful, which just makes it hard for them to do much. And once they do play some creatures, we have cast downs for those. So we're going to attack. They might not block the Infiltrator, even the 3-power one, because they could fear another Fanatical Offering. And they do. Take 7. I could hold up cast down because if they find Familiar plus Snap, it could be kind of annoying. They don't currently have a bounce land. They could find one. I think we're just going to try to use our mana efficiently, though, and play that. Spellbomb's good for next turn. They play an island, so that means no bounce land this turn. They got 5 mana. It's the worst they could do with 5 mana. I mean, they could Muldrift or Ephemerate. That's another reason I could have held up a cast down. But they Muldrifted before with Evoke, which made it seem like they didn't have the Ephemerate, or maybe they just didn't because they didn't have the lands they needed to. I don't know. Seagate Oracle is not that concerning to me. Seems alright by my account. And they do have the Snap for the Infiltrator. Definitely a little annoying, but it wasn't too big. It lost 2 counters and can't attack this turn, obviously. And they have Counterspell mana up. Or another Snap or something, maybe. We'll swing with the team. Yep, they'll take it. I'll play the Infiltrator. I don't really want it to get countered, but if it does, then it would make way for the Spellbomb. It didn't get countered at all, so maybe they don't have one. Okay, they'll let Spellbomb through too. Well, we're going to pass here. Should have played Spellbomb so they would not chump Afraid of Cracking. Well, I would be happy if they chumped because I had an Eviscerator's Insight in the graveyard that I would have flashed back, and then I would have actually been able to eat a Faithful. So I would have been very okay with that, and that's why I did it that way. They evoke a Muldrifter. If they go for an Ephemerate, I have the Cast Down. I don't think there's a lot else they could have for 1 mana unless they play Dispel, but usually they don't. They do get to draw 2 here. If it's just another evoked one, I'm very okay with that. Oh, they're Meeting of Minds in response. Sure. That's annoying. Just because it's, free 2 cards. Another free spell in the format, I guess technically all Convoke spells can be free, but this is a pretty decent playable one. Alright, Muldrifter dies. That's fine. It wasn't quite as bad as Ephemerate, but it still drew them 4 cards for 2. And then they have an Oracle, sure. I would even say a Brave Thing, Meeting of Minds is underplayed. I would agree. I think it's pretty good. I don't know if there are many decks that can play it other than Familiars, but even in Familiars it's not always played. I mean, I guess Fairies you could, but you don't. You want to be attacking with your Fairies, so that doesn't seem to make much sense. I kind of don't want to waste my mana here, but I feel like leaving up the Spellbomb and the Cast Downs is probably better. Currently only FAMs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was a good draw. We're going to start with that because I can maybe find some more things to sacrifice to grow these even bigger. And deal some serious damage, like a Chrysalis, of course. Another Infiltrator. Okay, I can play Infiltrator, Refurb. Then we have 3 guys growing. They discard a landscape. I'm going to play our landscape. I'm going to leave up cast down, so we're going to map token onto the refurb here. Map. We have another spell bomb. I'll leave that on top. That lets me crack this one with less hesitation. This is 12 damage. I'd have to have 4 things I could sacrifice here, which without a Kark on board, probably not going to happen, so they don't have to block necessarily, but I'm happy if they do. Pass. Could be Azorius Artifacts now with Relic and Ornithopters. Yeah, that could be an interesting deck for sure. Cycle a Lorien. Hard cast another Lorien. Sure. They have 1 mana left. Alright, so if I cast down one of their guys here, then untap, cast down another. They only have 1 blocker. They can block the 5/4 Infiltrator. They're currently taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If I sacrifice 2 things, of which I have a Spellbomb and a Landscape, I can just win. So I think it's worth going for it. They could have a Brainstorm to gain a couple life. They could have another Meeting of Minds. They could have an Ephemerate. Okay, this could be not amazing against Ephemerate, but Ephemerate doesn't gain them life, and if they use it to flicker this, they're not getting a trigger. So actually it doesn't do that much. It does give them another blocker, could keep them alive, but right, we have the other spell bomb. So play that, cast down this guy, and then if this dies, I believe we just have lethal. If they Ephemerate this, then they're still gonna have to double chump, so not bad. Didn't have FAM turn 2 or 3, lost. I mean, I think it's a little more nuanced than that, but you're right. I think it was that they only had 2 Godfarer's Faithfuls for the majority of the game, so they couldn't do much. But yeah, I mean, the deck is Familiars. It does not play amazingly without one of the namesakes. Whenever they let us go to attacks here, we should be good. I mean, if they have an Ephemerate for this, that doesn't change the math. So yeah, I'm pretty sure just sacking 2 spell bombs or landscapes should get us the game. Attack with the crew. All right, so we got that one. We get Duress and Pyro's Spellbomb. Pulse isn't super necessary. Krark is good here because most of their stuff's on the ground. You know, not Mole Drifters, but Godfire's Faithful, Familiars, Murmuring Mystic, Seagate Oracles. Don't think Munitions is very good. Lumbus doesn't seem necessary. Honestly, even just Blood Fountains, they have a couple counter spells, but mostly they're just bouncing our creatures and not killing them since they don't really care about combat that much, so I don't even think we need those. I don't have to have a Toxin Analysis, of course. I could just do the Krarks. Cast downs are all good. Yeah, maybe I will cut like a Toxin, and everything else is pretty good. I mean, Wildfire's nice here because we can blow up a bounce land. I mean, honestly, Chrysalis is probably our worst card just because it gets snapped really easily. Still grows the Infiltrators, but yeah, I think I'm fine cutting one of those. Season Mist, we're siding out Krarks, Munitions, Fountains. Siding in Duresses, Pyros, and Spell Bombs. Well, I got that part right. Siding out Munitions, Fountains, Toxins, and Krarks. So I got all of that, except I feel like Krarks make sense to keep in. Maybe not as much, just because, I don't know. I feel like if you can land a Krark, sack 4 artifacts, wipe the board, that's going to win you the game most times. It's really hard for them to... They're not a deck that rebuilds their board very nicely. You have less slots to side in. Sure, yeah. I gotcha. Yeah, if like the spell bombs were in the sideboard and I had 2 more slots or something, I could definitely see cutting these or something. But I mean, I think it'd be fine to cut some of them, but I definitely feel like they're going to be pretty good here. Okay, we're susceptible to Dust to Dust, but we do have a Duress on turn 2. Then we have some card draw. Yeah, I think it's okay. Removal. We have all the right cards, it's just a little slow. They preordain. You could side out like 1 versus Crystal. Yeah, I think taking out a Krark would have been fine there. There are very few matches where I would pull out a Chrysalis, and it could just be wrong to do so, but it just feels like it costs a good amount. It gets snapped pretty easily. I mean, I guess it gets snapped, we re-get the Eldrazi spawn. That's not terrible, but I don't know. I felt like I wanted the speed of the Gixines a little bit more because we saw that they did pretty well there. We have a Beachfront and a Chancery here. So I get the Landscape. I could play a 2-drop. Yeah, I mean, we know they have an island and an idyllic beachfront, so they might not be able to Dust to Dust if they even have it. If they Dust to Dust a bridge and a Wellspring, it's not as big of a deal. What else is Duress important for? Ephemerate or Ghostly Flicker before they get to 4. Yeah, I think we'll go for the Wellspring here. Jukabog's not bad. They have the Familiar and an island. Well, that makes Cast Down tough because they could just have a counterspell for it. Because I would like to kill this. I could just do it in the upkeep. Seems reasonable. Play this. Cast Down in their upkeep. Use their mana a little bit. Or I could just like draw 3. But their deck does hinge around Familiar. I feel like trying to get rid of it would be decent. Yeah, they have the Negate. That's what I expected. That or Prohibit. Not putting a creature down could, you know, for a little bit could be decent just so that they can't snap something. I mean, obviously they can snap their own guy, but Seagate Oracle and Island. So not Beachfront, which means they're holding up another counterspell. Oh, or they're just snapping right now. Fair enough. 4 mana. Interesting. Replay the Seagate Oracle. So they basically just use Snap to sleight of hand off the Oracle for free, which is fine. They do still potentially have counterspell mana up. We only have 1 black mana, so this I definitely got to cycle for black, I think, even with the Bajuka Bog. So I could go for a Duress, or I could just go for a draw. I think I got to go for the draw, which should obviously be on their turn, but they could definitely have a pretty good turn here with like Ghostly Flicker or Ephemerate or whatever, and bog them away. There's a Mole Drifter with Ghostly Flicker mana. So yeah, it's going to be pretty good. Ghostly Flicker both of these. They're going to draw like 5. I could draw 2 in response, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to have anything for free to cast. Oh, they don't have the Ghostly Flicker. Fair enough. I guess they were just hoping for it, but that's fine by me. Preordain. I mean, they're already at 7 cards, so if they did do the Ghostly Flicker, they'd still be discarding, but obviously that's still not bad for them, even if it's a bunch of loots. Preordain, play an island, swing for 1. Ninja me. I'd be so surprised if they ninja'd right there, because that'd be crazy to play in their deck. Alright, we're going to pull this out. If they want to counter this, that's fine. Hit our land drop. Yeah, a lot of card draw here. Oh, there's a cast down. I think we're starting with a Duress. Then maybe I cast down if it works. I mean, they could have like double counter here, but see what they're working with. Essence Scatter, Ephemerate. That's all they have? Chaomancer and a Godfire's Faithful. Okay. So they got the Ephemerate, they just didn't leave up the white. Essence Scatter, so yeah, I'm not going to cast a Chris here. I can just counter the or kill the Familiar then. They have the Archaeomancer. They don't have much to get back. I really just need to get, what is it? I really need to get a Spell Bomb. I guess Ephemerate Archaeomancer is pretty good. So I could take the Ephemerate, but then they just cast the Archaeomancer. Get the Ephemerate back. I guess I could just take the Essence Scatter and play the Chris, but that doesn't do much. Excuse me. I could hold up the cast down for the Archaeomancer. At this point, maybe that's better, because their hand does not even look that much that benefited from the familiar. Yeah, I think actually that's what we're going to do. Take the Ephemerate, play a Vault, and just hold up a cast down for the Archaeomancer, draw 2 as well here. So obviously if their hand was like a ton of blue cards that like Seagate Oracles and Muldrifters that give them advantage for cheaper, I would have killed the familiar, but it just does not look to be that way. Now, if they want to play the Archaeomancer to get back the Ephemerate, also, their mana, they have to... Oh, actually, because the familiar's here, they could still just tap these 3, leave the white up. Yeah, that's fair. But they're not gonna. Pick up the Ephemerate, sure. Play a Chancery, swing for 1. Alright, and I'm going to Offering. Depending on what I get, I might just cast another Offering. Like, I probably want to cast down the Archaeomancer before they have Ephemerate mana up. But if I don't have a Spellbomb to blow up the graveyard, then they could find, like, a Mortuary Mire to bring it back. That'd be annoying. Refurb. Yeah, I kind of just want to draw another 2 here. Rolfus Rex subscribed with Prime. Thanks for that, Rolfus. How's it going? I hope the Hedron serves you well, as it did the 3 Planeswalkers who originally sealed the Eldrazi away with them. That was cool, you know? Alright, we got Gixien, we got double Refurb, so I can take 2 cards from their hand, or rather, you know, they might Essence Scatter the first one. That's probably fine too. Yeah, let's play a Refurb, see what that provokes. There's the Scatter, play another. I think we're just going to kill this now. Obviously, there's more value if they Ephemerate it first, and then we target it, but if they get a counterspell for it, it's kind of bad. And we're going to tap out to play this guy so that we can start getting in some damage finally. Hell yeah, more Jund forever. The Jund will continue until morale improves. They play the Beachfront. Murmuring Mystic. That's also a good one to have a cast down for generally. They have 2 unknowns. Huh. Well, yeah, I'm just going to Fanatical this map. I could, like, the Refurb is losing value if there's a Mystic to block, but I don't think I want to just sacrifice it because this just gets chumped pretty easily. Okay, we have a Duress. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to cast Duress right now, just because it doesn't do that much. I don't know. Like, I guess if they have a Ghostly Flicker, like anything they have, they just use in response. It's not the best thing ever, I guess. Let's just play a Refurb. Been following your YouTube channel for a few days now. Cool to finally catch you live. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching and for hanging out. Discard the Faithful. I could play a Chris. Yeah, that's the best way to get damage going, I think. I don't know. I mean, without more like cast downs and stuff, which I could dig for with the Insight, it feels like we just got to get damage going and hope they draw poorly for the next couple turns. Also going to sack a spawn here, grow the crew to use a map token. I am going to put this on this Refurb to hopefully keep it alive against 1 bird. Spellbomb is great. We'll leave that on top. Swing with these 2. See what they got for us. They got something. They do have an Ephemerate. Sure. Right. We knew they had the Ephemerate, obviously, because they brought it back with the Archaeomancer. I was blanking on that for a second. That's fine. If they can make another bird, they can double block the Refurb. Otherwise, they're probably just chumping here, and that's fine. But, I mean, the same thing held true, right? If I duressed the Ephemerate, they would have cast in response. Maybe whatever they get off the Oracle then has to be a non-creature spell, or a can't be a spell, but I don't know. Ephemerate again, make another bird. We just didn't have any interaction, so I still am happy with our play there, since we didn't have much else to do about it. We have another Familiar. I mean, that's scary. 2 Familiars is when they can start potentially comboing out. I mean, they need 2 Familiars and, like, Archaeomancer, Ghostly Flicker. And they need, like, a Godfarer's Faithful to actually have a payoff for that. But 1 mana Muldrifter's not bad either, though. And they have the Ephemerate. Yeah, it's pretty good. And a Preordain. And a Meeting of Minds, which only costs 2. Well, they managed to find their card draw, which was not quite what we wanted to happen. All right, we get our Spellbomb. They have 5 cards in hand. They have an Ephemerate in exile that's coming back. I guess we start with a Duress. See what they got in hand. Or maybe just meet a counterspell, but that's fine too. Yeah, there's a Negate. Insight the Spawn here. Grow the team. Krark and a Red Blast. I mean, Krark is a lot less effective after the birds are all here. I could sacrifice 5 artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 5 rather. Wiping these away does feel pretty good. We make this enormous. We do lose our Chrysalis. I have a counter spell in case they try to interact with that. Alright, well I think I need to do that. Need to get rid of the Mystic. Put down a Spellbomb. Put down a Bridge. Put down a Krark. 3. Oh, they're also going to Ephemerate this guy. So I guess they didn't interact there. They could have a Snap, I guess, to keep the Mystic alive. Yeah, I gotta leave a red floating. Actually, if I sack all these, I lose all my red. 1, 2, 3. I could just sack the 2 Refurbs. Chrysalis dies here. That's so annoying. We still need to do it. We'll just have 1 giant creature and that's it. Yeah, I need to keep the Refurb for that reason. All right, let's start sacrificing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll see if they have anything to do here. Damage, kill the Familiars, kill the Mystic. Okay. And then I can't hold up this red because we lost all our red spell things, so I think this is probably fine, unless they have another Ephemerate maybe. They would have kept the Mystic, I think. Yeah, kill that. And then we have a Spellbomb. Okay. I don't want to lose the refurb to 2 of these. I'd rather just start attacking in with this and then eventually attack with this guy. All right, and we'll pass. Now their Ephemerate's got to stay in exile, or they have to lose a bird because they'd have to flicker it. Either one would be fine. We have a Spellbomb. If they have a Snap for this, that'd be annoying, but like, you know, we're not in a terrible spot. Familiar, sure. Lorien revealed. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Landscape. I think I'm just playing this bridge. Jump with the bird. I think I'm going to crack the Spellbomb. Without a Mortuary Mire or Arcane Master on board, I don't think there's any risk. There's so many things in there. They've already gone through 2 Ephemerates, which I think the deck usually only plays like 2 or 3. And I could draw something relevant here. We'll give it a try. I mean, Duress isn't bad. We'll cast that. Envelop. Okay, that's fine. Any tips to get good at mid-range? Can't seem to break out of endless 2/3s and 3/2s despite getting a good amount of 4/1s with other decks, mostly control. Yeah. Mid-range is all about value, pretty much, which is why I like it. You should be trying to maximize your value at all times. Now, control is obviously very similar in that regard, in that you're trying to build up card advantage and things like that. But, you know, sometimes you're willing to sacrifice value for, like, killing a thing at a certain time. Getting a lot of card draw here. Mid-range is about value while also balancing, like, aggression, right? It's between aggro and control. You're trying to get all the value you can, but you're also trying to not give your opponent endless time. Now, a lot of Pauper mid-range decks are okay to go super grindy and like that, you know, go super late, but they play a lot of creatures so that if they get a draw that can be really aggressive, they can take advantage of it. So the thing about mid-range is that you can play out as a control deck, or you can play out as a mid-range or an aggro deck, depending on your draw. And yeah, I don't know. It's very much about balancing your speed, attacking as much as you can, while also getting value, making sure to use your mana effectively when you can. Try not to waste mana. Definitely try to, you know, a lot of these things are very abstract, so I'm trying to put it more concretely, but like, you know, getting value, taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes, certainly, but also just like, you know, their vulnerabilities. If they have a weakness, you know, if we had a Wildfire here, their weakness could be blowing up their land, stuff like that. Like, I don't know, just trying to identify whatever their weaknesses are and capitalizing on them, I guess. I don't know how helpful all of that is, just spewing it out there, but I don't know. I will say, like, I guess for more of a practical application, I like mid-range, and the reason that I have the experience that I have with mid-range is because I played a ton of limited. Most every, you know, you can build an aggro deck, you can build a control deck, occasionally you can build a combo deck, but most of the time your decks are going to be somewhere in the mid-range range, the vicinity of mid-range, because your deck is all going to be creatures and removal, and so you need to know how to fight over that value effectively and make sure that you're getting 2-for-1s and your opponent isn't, and things like that. So, like, obviously practicing a mid-range deck that you want to would be a great way to help with that. But honestly, playing limited, I think, can just teach you mid-range as an archetype a lot. Probably better than anything else. And yeah, hope that's somewhat helpful. Snap, I have no responses. Snap's going to be pretty brutal with the Mystic. I think we're going to die here probably, but we'll see. What's up, gamers? You think the Dimir spirits have slots for abandoned attachments from Avatar? I think that it's definitely going to get some play. We'll see how good it is, but I definitely think it could be good. The fact that you don't discard as an additional cost is worse for the spirits, because you don't get to discard them and bring them back with the exact same spell, whereas you can with like Dahada's Ploy when you jumpstart it. But it's still pretty good. It's multicolored. It's 2 mana instant speed. I think it's definitely going to see some play there, and I'm sure I will be giving that a try when it comes out, which I guess is in like less than a week. So yeah, probably within a couple weeks I'll play some more Dimir spirits with that. Well, we're gonna play a refurb. We're gonna play a Gixian Infiltrator. I think I'm just gonna pass. I could play this landscape. Maybe I should at this point, because we have an Eviscerated Insight in our graveyard. I don't know. Who's the beatdown is a big key. Knowing their role is in a match is super helpful. Yes, Komodo Drake, definitely a great point. There's a great article by, is it a Frank Karsten article maybe, called Who's the Beatdown? That's fantastic for limited, but also mid-range, you know, just generally knowing things like that, which is, the summary of it is basically you need to know who is the beatdown, which deck is the aggro deck, because if you're a control deck, you know more than likely you're playing against somebody who's going to try to be more aggressive than you, and if you're an aggro deck, you know you're probably going to be playing against somebody more late game than you. But if you're a mid-range deck, you're somewhere in between, And it's not always deterministic by who, like what the archetype they're playing is. Sometimes it's just based on the draw, right? So if I'm playing Jund versus Esper Affinity, who's the beatdown? It's not clear. It's not always going to be the same answer. It's going to be different based on who is whose draw is what. So that's definitely a good one to know. Let's see. We have Viscerator's Insight. Yeah, we'll just play this and pass. I mean, they're lower time on clock, and they have 10 cards in the library. I realize with Mortuary Mire and Ghostly Flickers and stuff, they probably won't mill out. We don't have a lot else to do, so we're just going to pass here. Mike Flores, that's it. Gotcha. Yeah, great article from, I just looked it up, 1999. Older article, but super helpful. I read through it again recently, because it's just great. There's a lot of great older articles. Unfortunately, we don't get as much of that nowadays. But there's a lot of great older articles that are really helpful for that type of thing. And yeah, knowing who's the beatdown, which of your opponent, which of you is supposed to be trying to attack at a given time is very, very key. We're going to flash back Viscerator's Insight here. This is going to make our Gixian Infiltrator try to eat the Archaeomancer. I assume there will be a Flicker spell of some variety. Probably a Ghostly one. Never mind, I just ate it. I guess they have a Mortuary Mire, so they can also just Ghostly Flicker that. Put it back on top. They have 2 Sunscape Familiars, Muldrifter, 2 Familiars, Archaeomancer, Island. They have a Godfair's Faithful, so I think if they just get that with a Ghostly Flicker, they'd have Infinite. 1999. Raise your hand if that article is older than you. Yeah, it's an older article for sure. They have another Archaeomancer. They don't have a Ghostly Flicker in their graveyard. I don't think I even exiled one before, did I? No. Surely they have a Ghostly Flicker in their deck. Returns Medium Mind. Maybe there's 1 or 2 in the last 5 cards, and that's what they're looking for. That would make sense. If I recall correctly, I think this might only be game 2, though. I don't think... There's the Flicker. Is this game 2? Yeah. Ghostly Flicker, targeting an island and that. Alright. Well, I will concede here. Technically, we have them on time. They can gain infinite life here. I don't necessarily see them winning the last game in 2 minutes, but we will give them that opportunity, since there's obviously no way we can deal lethal damage through infinite. I mean, to be honest, the clock is a part of the game. If that was game 3, I might not necessarily concede at that point, because I do think it's a valid way to win, but... I don't know. I know people feel very strongly about that. All right, on the play here. No lands. Sure. Not the best hand ever. I guess I get rid of this Krark for now. I don't know. We'll sack this for black. We have black with the Bajuka Bog, but I'd like to preserve the Bog for a couple turns if we can. At least get a couple spells out of it. Cast down, Duress, Chris. Well, now we're going to have to play it, obviously. I could go for a Fanatical Offering. I think I'd rather just Duress, crack the landscape, because they have counterspell mana up. I don't really want to get the offering countered. If they negate this, that's fine. I guess I'll Bajuka Bog that. Crack this for red, and just pass. There's a familiar. Cleansing Wildfire. Well, I guess we'll go for an offering. I'd like to cast this down, but I'd like to hit my lands. They can obviously counter this. Another negate. Yeah, it's a little annoying. Archaeomancer, get back the negate. Sure. I did exile the other one, but I still got this one. Yeah, I'm just going to cast this down. They can negate, and I'll red blast it. I think this is better than the Archaeomancer at this point, just because it speeds them up a lot. If they have an Ephemerate, I guess the Archaeomancer is going to be problematic, but they also are on 1 minute. They got to actually do something. They can't just hard lock us out with a negate. It's not even hard lock, obviously, because we have creatures we can cast. Fanatical Offering. I guess I'm going to Cleansing Wildfire, just to cycle it. If they want to counter, that's fine. Doesn't really do much. They don't have a land that's juicy to hit, and we don't have one either. They have a Meeting of Minds in response. But if we cycle this into a land, that could be decent for us. Or just a Chris. Preordain. I mean, I cannot imagine a way that they could win this in this amount of time, but we'll see. I guess they could just do 1x beatdowns for 6 more turns in a row. Nothing to play except for a Krark, so we'll cast it. They got the Essence Scatter. I mean, if they play a Mystic, sure, maybe they can get there. Preordain. They're on 5 seconds. Ooh, we find our bridge. That means I can play a Refurb. Discard an island, and we're going to get there with time. Not the favorite way to win the match, but it'll do, I suppose. And yeah, that was another long one, so we'll do one more match. Unless it's a real fast one, I'm not sure I'll be able to do much more right now. I will say I'm going to, I'll put the league up as a video. I'll just have to record the extra videos, the extra matches later, and so people can always see those. Opponent's just wasting his own time playing this game. Yeah, I mean, I understand the need, or the desire, rather, to try to win a game, especially if it looks like it's going your way under pressure like that. But I think at some point you got to just know when you can't, and I would say under 2 minutes nothing on board in a Familiars game probably is going to be one of those. Certainly under 15 seconds with me still having 15 life on board. Not going to work out. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, on the play here, pretty good hand with turn 2 Wildfire, Refurb, Lembas. The Toxin's just kind of chilling, but it could be good later. Opponent seems to be a fan. Start with a bridge and pass. Probably just Wildfire next turn to get that ramp going. Campfire, okay. Well, I definitely want a ramp just for the speed. Campfire, if I'm lucky, means like Gardens. I don't know if that's actually a favorite matchup, but if we're unlucky, it's probably like Fog, which is not my favorite, and probably just a bad matchup because we don't have much of a way to deal with that. Another Campfire and activate. Yeah, we could just Lembas and Refurb here. Don't think we need another land, let alone another forest. All our green mana flooding the hand. All right, Pestilence. Okay, Food Pest, probably. I assume. There's no food so far, but that's the deck that's been going around. Rot Farm. Pestilence in some variation. I mean, they might have some fog still, but it's not necessarily the worst for us. I could Wildfire here. I think I'm just going to Chris and play a tap land. Actually, no, maybe I should have blown up their Rot Farm. I can do that next turn, but cutting off their mana would be nice. I don't need the mana as much. Obviously, if they have more Tithing Blades or something, I'd like to keep some spawn around. There's a Wellspring. I think Lembas, as long as I can, will probably sit on the field. Like, I might actually want the life in this matchup, just because Pestilence is all about who has more life, because if we have less life, then they could just Pestilence us down, assuming they can keep a creature on board. I think we're just going to blow up their Rot Farm. It seems decent to me. Of course, it only is 1 black mana, and Pestilence needs you know the thing. It wants all black mana. And this is only 1, it's 1 green, but what am I trying to say? We cut them off green as well, because they probably only play Swamps, which they didn't fetch out of Forest. Swamps and probably Colony Gardens, so if they play any green cards in their deck, like Heaped Harvest or either the Storm or anything, then it could be decent. They have a Lembas. Well, there's a food, but this is the food that's played in most of these styles of decks, even if it's not Food Pest. So no guarantee that's what it is yet. Spell Bomb. Sure, that's fine. I might Fanatical Offering a spawn here. We still have 1 if there is another Tithing Blade. And as I mentioned, I want to keep the Lembas around for now. Okay, another Chris. Let's start growing this one a bunch. I tapped way too much black mana there. Always do that. Yeah, sack a spawn, map onto this guy. I could map onto this one. The taller, we'll leave a Wildfire, I guess. The taller they go, sometimes the easier it is to survive against Pestilence and Defile if they play that and stuff like that. But obviously Cast Down can just kill it. So hit for 7. I think that's fine. We are hitting pretty hard. Don't think there's any reason to run out of Krark at the moment. You got to test this Pest deck. It's good. Yeah, I did play a Pest deck on the channel like a month ago. It was Abzan, but it wasn't quite the list that's been going around, and I have been wanting to give it a try, so I probably will at some point. I'll offering a spawn here. I don't think I need to sack this landscape. I'd rather just save it for a Gixian Infiltrator. Okay. They missed a land drop, which is also really good. So another Chrysalis has hit the board. Sack a spawn, grow everybody, map onto the Refurb. I mean, they could be at 19, 22 life. Could I deal 22 damage? That seems a little far-fetched. Yeah, they have a cast down for the Refurb. Interesting. Sure. Obviously, because we don't get the map, but they're just taking a lot of damage. I think I still don't want to lose any of these to a Tithing Blade. That'd be really silly. Oh, but I can play out a Krark to get around the Tithing. That's fine. I'm going to crack these then. Play the Wellspring and swing for 15. Obviously, that's not lethal because they have some ways to make to gain some life. I kind of expect another cast down to go for the throat, sure. Since they used one on a 3-2, I figured they probably would use one here too. But yeah, let's play the Krark out just to have Tithing Blade protection. But yeah, there's been a whole bunch of decks that I've been trying and playing on the channel, various different decks. So it's been definitely some that I have had on the back burner that's going to take me a little bit longer to get to. But I'll definitely get to it at some point soon here. Offering the Blade, yeah. They're desperately looking for lands and removal and stuff. This is definitely a deck that if you miss land drops, you're cooked a lot of times, just because not only do you need a lot of lands for Pestilence, but you need to be activating your campfires every turn, your Lembas, and also removing things. Like if they don't hit a land here, they could maybe remove this, but then they have 6 damage they're facing. If I can find a way to pump it by 2, which would really only be like my last Chrysalis or a Hydra, but then they could die. If they don't cast down, they could gain 4, go up to 12, but that's just dead on board. So yeah, if they don't have removal, they're dead from what I see. All right, and we got them. All right, so Duress is decent. Troublemaker Roof hits a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, Pestilence included. Incursion could gain us a bunch of life, but doesn't seem super good otherwise. I mean, you could get Familiars, assuming they're playing those, but obviously Familiars can jump out of it. Makeshift Munitions can kind of counter their Pestilence decently, kind of. I don't know. Quarks are definitely not needed. Toxin, probably not either, although the life gain could be relevant. Only Cats, probably. Yeah. For the munitions, you're saying? Yeah, I mean, usually they play Colony Gardens, too. They play... I'm assuming, like, I don't know their exact list, but usually they play those. I feel like there's a couple other creatures, but definitely just being able to kill the cats is pretty important, I think. Probably another Spell Bomb. Don't think we need that. For Incursion, you mean? Yeah, yes, you're right. Yeah, we could target ourselves, but that's not great. Yeah, I don't think Incursion's necessary. Pulse is decent, because, you know, it just buys back a guy. Gains us some life. I guess life's pretty important. Maybe this one's okay. I guess we don't need all these cast downs, probably. More like cats down, am I right? Anyway, yeah, we could probably keep 2 of them in, but I think we can cut a couple. Like, they're still not bad to kill their creature if they're keeping it, Pestilence because of it, but not as necessary. I mean, Toxin can gain life, which could be relevant, and just cycles. I think we'll do that. Keep 1 cast down. Cast down just feels like it could be pretty useless, but could also be okay sometimes as well. I had a Jund player kill his own Hydra to get rid of Pestilence. Just saying. I also had the thought for a second of, maybe I should keep them in to kill our own creatures, like our own Chrysalis. But in the moment, that could definitely be the right play. But I don't think it's a play I don't think it's something that's going to come up enough that I really want to play for it. We do have 1 cast down if that comes up. We might do it, but otherwise I don't think that's what I'm keeping him in for. Maybe KCS over cast down. Yeah. KCS isn't really killing anything relevant. Maybe a cat, but it's also a creature that dies to Pestilence, which just feels kind of bad. And the instant speed of the cast down could be relevant. I don't know. I think the cast down's probably better here. Other ways to kill your own stuff. So yeah, it's just a situation that happened to me once. Yeah. No, I mean, I love little niche stories like that. And absolutely could be the right play. It could be really sweet. When it comes up, but it's definitely not something I'm gonna play around. Duress here, probably just Wellspring and Refurb. Duress next turn with Infiltrator, or I could just Chrysalis. Well, we'll see what the Duress turns up, I think. They discarded a Troublemaker Roof to the Refurb. Maybe they just don't have the green. Cat and Plants also boost Gixian. Yeah, boosting the Gixian is good for sure. Cats and Plants, yeah. All right, we're gonna start with the Duress, see what they have working for them. Oops. Come on. All right. 3 kill spells, Weather and Lembas. Oh, I am not that worried about these. I mean, kill spells are good, obviously, for, like, Gixian. Yeah, I guess maybe I should take a cast down. Then they kill the Gixian Infiltrator, and then the Chrysalis can survive, or vice versa. Actually, I might want the Chrysalis to eat the dust. I don't know. Part of me wants to just leave all the removal and take the Lembas, but we do need to kill them with creatures, so I guess removal is good to take away. Brought Weather, that just seems wrong. I would agree. Yeah, I kind of just want a Chrysalis here. I guess cast down, go for the throat. So the Gixian's probably going to eat one of them anyway. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I will say there's more utility that you can get. Like, Weather the Storm's particularly good, maybe even a main deck card sometimes, for Pestilence because they need to stay above your life total. So it's not only something you want to bring in against, you know, the aggro decks. But Jund definitely specifically feels like one that it's not super necessary, I would say. They're going to block, take 2. Oh, they have Flashback Insight, sure. Okay, so I could oof away the Campfire, because Campfire gains life, but it feels like we probably just want to save that. Let's just draw. Blood Fountain's good, assuming they don't get a Spell Bomb. There's our one of Cast Down. Play the Fountain. Guess I'll play an Infiltrator. Sack this. Play, not that. Play a Spell Bomb. Sack this. Grow the Refurb. Cleansing Wildfire. We'll leave that. I could cut him off green. Might not be the thing we want to do, but it's a possibility. There's the Familiar. All right. Well, now we can't cut him off green, so not even consideration. Wildfire doesn't even seem that good. I could ramp myself. I don't need that. Let's get rid of it. Grow this a little bit. Get another red, I guess. Wellspring. Another Gixian Infiltrator. Sure, we'll swing with the team. I mean, until they have like the Pestilence to wipe the board, more creatures is good, because they're going to have to single target remove them. They might just do a couple chumps and take 3, though, because they probably want to wait as long as possible. No, they're going to be happy to let this one die. Yeah, I guess they want to keep the Cauldron Familiar around. Go for the Throat is down. Play another Gixian Infiltrator. I think I'm casting this down. Let's just play a Wellspring here. Alright, pass. Weather the Storm. Sure. You gain 15. I mean, like, now if they land a Pestilence and, like, could wipe the board, except for their Familiar, then, like, you know, the high life total would be pretty good, but doesn't seem insane at the moment. They're getting the food for the Familiar. Scry to the top, and a Nutrient Block. I was just thinking we haven't seen any other food. Pulse of Marasa. Get back a Gixian Infiltrator? Sure. Don't have that many ways to sacrifice things at this point, though. If I do that and they get the pest, they can... I think it's still fine, I guess. And doing it pre-combat here because I might... If I attack with the Infiltrator and they block with the Familiar, I'm going to want to sacrifice something to it. Well, something to grow it. If not, they just block like that. It's probably still right to grow. I can only grow 1 way, well, 2 with the Spell Bomb no matter what, so let's just do this. Eat their guy. They go to 27. Mid-range grind fest of all time. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a grindy one. I wouldn't say their deck is really mid-range. There's definitely hard control, but often the grindiness of the mid-range decks in this format go up against the control decks, and it makes them extremely grindy as well, yeah. Definitely going to be a long one. Cast down, that's annoying, but that was the last removal spell we knew about. There's another one, though. Bajuka Bog. Yeah, that's annoying when we have our Blood Fountain not available. We haven't really had enough mana to, like, leave it up, though, so I don't think it was wrong to have used our mana. Still annoying. Play a Refurb here. They got 1 card in hand, so that's something. I mean, they're probably going to block and draw another card with a Nutrient Block. Running out of cards a bit. Yeah, I was just noticing that, so we could be okay. I could Troublemaker Oof the Campfire. We draw a card, we get another attacker down. It's worse if they then land the Pestilence, but they can only do it for 3 right away. I don't know. I'm gonna do this. Not necessarily the right play, but here I go. I've already waited a while, so it could be even worse, but never responded earlier meeting. Those were good mid-range tips. No problem. I'm glad they helped, or ideally will help. Crackolumbus, I mean, they're going low on food as well here. So, like, next time this dies, if this is the only food, I can maybe crack the Spell Bomb, get rid of the Familiar. That's fair. Cat Pest, I think, is in a good position to benefit from future releases, given how relatively new the food archetype was released. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it's a deck that, since Familiar was downshifted, people have been wanting to make work, but there just was not enough food. But then Bloomburrow gave us a couple pretty decent ones. And then the Nutrient Block, I think, is a real big upgrade. Pretty good, for sure. I wish they would kill it here so I could Blood Fountain back. We're gonna do this, though. Infiltrator. The kind of Pauper I don't like. Tap out control versus tap out midrange. Fair. This could be a time to kill our own Chrysalis when they go for the Pestilence here. I don't think there's any reason to cast anything else at the moment. They didn't activate there. Interesting. They didn't play Wellspring, but they kept mana for Crackolumbus. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Another food. So they crack to bring back. I crack Spellbomb in response. They crack the other one. It comes back, but then I cast down. Gets exiled, so they would need another piece to be able to keep the cat around. Getting better at Magic is tricky. I feel like in most of my losses I don't have a lot of better plays I could have made, but then I see better plays consistently 5-0, better players. Oh, interesting. So I know I'm missing something. Hard to fix the mistakes you don't notice. Yeah, I totally understand. Oh, interesting. Weather the Storm. I mean, I guess this puts them above us in life total, but that's not the most effective Weather the Storm I've ever seen. I guess maybe it's just not getting better, so that's fair. Yeah, definitely it's hard if you don't know what you're doing wrong. I would say that as you watch, you know, a lot of it is going to be very incremental as you watch other people play and notice, oh, this is a spot that I've kind of been in before. Let's see how they handle it. and then they do something different, then you're like, oh, I can do this little trick or whatever, and that's kind of cool. All right, real quick, though, they're bringing the cat back. I'm going to cast it down again in response. Oh, they're going to deal damage in response here. Sure. Turn the scratch from your graveyard to the battlefield. They might do it again. Hang these two off. Yep. Return the cat. Then I'm going to cast it down. Cast down coming in handy. Pay a black to draw, so we still get to exile the cat. I don't think this was blocked, so I think we hit for 4 here. Maybe it was blocked by the rod guy and I didn't remember. No, we weren't even in blockers. Okay. So deal and force. How much mana do they have? They have 5 black. So I could play... Oh, wait. I'm 1 mana short of Blood Fountaining back the Troublemaker Oof and using it right now. I could Fanatical Offering our Chrysalis to kill the Pestilence. I don't know if that's the right call. It's honestly not a bad idea. I don't think that's quite right, though. I think we just pass here. I think the biggest mistakes I make are probably more about game plan, where in early turns I set myself up for failure down the line. Even when I make decent plays early and decent plays late, they don't necessarily add up to a real cohesive play to win the game. Yeah, I think one of my... when I was in a similar spot, one of the things that I thought was... whenever I played a blue deck with counter spells, I was like, oh, I can't... I keep losing. What am I doing wrong? And then realized that, and I still sometimes do this, but I realized that my issue was that so sorry, I'm going to give you some sage advice, but real quick, I need to figure this out. So they can currently kill my Chrysalis. So if I cast my Chris, they could tap Pestilence for 5, but that's fine, because then I get my second Chris. But if they don't and they let this resolve, then they can't kill this one and it's bigger, because I want to exile the Pestilence, I think. And they kill this one, but then I have a bigger attacker. Yeah, I think we're doing this. So, like a blue control deck, or not even control, tempo, mono blue terror, anything like that, and I'm not even saying with Pauper, just in general. I'm like, oh, why do I keep losing? And then I realize, well, I'm a blue deck, and I keep tapping out to, the first few turns to, do whatever, to cast my creatures, and then I'm losing because I haven't held up counter spells for them, and then I have no actual hard removal, which is obviously what you want to have at that point. So that's just like a minor level up moment like that, where I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I, misplayed my cards, and it's like, well, I fundamentally didn't understand my role in that position, and that can be tough. All right, so I'm doing this. I'm going to attack, and then at the... Oh, Duress isn't bad either. Okay, I can play Spellbomb. Okay. We're in a good spot. Let me just attack here. I mean, they can kill this Chrysalis. That's fine, but they have double land. Perfect. Crack the map. And they can kill this Oof too, but they're in a rough spot. I don't think without a Pestilence they can do much here. A lot of players who consistently 5-0 just play all day, no joke. That is also a very good point. I play a lot, but I do not play 10 or 12 hours a day like a lot of people do, a lot of grinders do. And, sometimes I get 4 or 5 trophies in a season, but I'm never going to be at the 20 trophies probably. It's often just a lot of small things that only matter in 1% cases, but overall it compounds. Yeah, there's a lot of little value you can extract from a lot of different things. And if you don't know how to do that, obviously you can whiff on some of it. There's no one thing you can point to or focus on to get better. Sometimes as well, the feeling of having no other plays to make can stem from early choices you made compared to someone else. Might limit your choices later. Yeah, definitely what we were talking about already. Yeah, that's not going to do it. So they have Colony Garden and Bojuka Bog in hand. And I can Blood Fountain back a Chris and a Refurb before they're able to get the Bojuka Bog off. Oh, I also have a Troublemaker. Actually, I'll get back the Troublemaker Roof, because if they get another Pestilence, I could need that. But yeah, we'll just do... I guess am I even... They said Blood Fountain is so busted. It's pretty good. I guess actually we're just playing this. So Chris, I'm not going to crack the spawn right away. So I might as well play this and then crack them next turn. That's still growing a guy that's attacking this turn. And I hold up a Fanatical this way in case they get a removal spell. All right. Just trying to tell myself that even if I'm getting better slowly, that won't really lead to results until down the line when all this 1% start come together. On a much, much more specific note, how much artifact/enchantment removal are you running? In this deck, I am running... Well, it's not in my sideboard. I'm running 2 Troublemaker Oofs. That is it in this deck. It's a little light, but generally Jundardi has a pretty good matchup against Affinity. And as far as enchantments, Bogles is probably the only real enchantment deck, or Heroic. We already have... It's not the best matchup against those, but we already have Krark Toxin to try to deal with them. And if we don't deal with them, we might die anyway. Yeah, so just 2, but you could put... Actually, wait, this might be my only one. I think I upped it to 2. It's 1 or 2, but you could play as many oofs as you want. In the right meta, or, your local meta or whatever, I could see you running, 4 oofs if everyone's playing artifacts or whatever. Sure, they kill Chris. And then their last 2 cards are lands, I assume. Because Tragic Slip's on top. 3rd Duress, they say. Yeah, Rot Farm. Yeah, it's fine. They said, go easy on me. Which will not be happening. You can block here. You get a land. Sure. All right, we're attacking. And we're attacking. I like the double enchant hate right now. Stock was pretty much just one for a while. Affinity Elves and Pastel popping up more now. Yeah. I think I definitely like a couple. I think Oof is just so strong in this deck and in the format that it's not necessarily needed, but it is just really good. It's just a really good card, I think. Did they leave the Tragic Slip on top? They did. Well, that doesn't even seem very good, because now they have to chump, and then they're dead. I'm not going to sack anything before, so they're not going to be able to get the -13 off. Yeah. Walker's latest list was 1 Oof, 1 Heritage Reclamation, I think. Instant speed can be make or break versus Lethal Hydra or Bogles or something. Yeah. Now, I like Heritage Reclamation a lot. It also can target something in a graveyard, so it can be good against Spy. I like Reclamation a lot. Obviously, it doesn't exile, which is the big drawback, but... and you can't recur it with a Blood Fountain. Yeah, actually, I think I saw his latest list was also only running 1 Blood Fountain because he was running fewer Oofs, which is fair. I mean, he's the expert. I'm not going to say he's wrong or anything, but, I like a couple Oof. And I like Blood Fountain a lot, of course. Yeah, so we were able to get there against... Food Pest. Sometimes in this matchup, the 2/2 KCS from map's crazy strong, all these 0-1s and 1-1s. That is also true. Yeah, that's definitely a trick I don't use that much, but it is cool if you can pump up a KCS. I feel like most times I'm using it, I'm sacking for like 5 or they kill it right away, so it doesn't really matter too much, but definitely a cool thing to keep in mind. Yeah, I guess the last thing on what you were saying before about like all the incremental changes and stuff. It's just, yeah, it's going to happen over time. It's going to happen slowly. It's going to be a lot of you talking with people about like, oh, should I make this play? Like often when I'm at my locals, when we're doing a league or whatever, there's a couple specific guys that like, we play our match, we play, we're all very competitive. And then after the match, if we're also pretty fast players, so then we have 30 minutes left or whatever, and we just start jamming more games. And then every single time something interesting comes up where it's like, oh, should I do this or this? We just like splay out our hand and are like, okay, I'm thinking about doing this, but maybe this is better, and then just kind of talk through it. I think that's a really good way to get better, is seeing what other people think. Even if they're not necessarily experts in your deck, they might be like, well, if I'm holding this card, if they're experts in their deck, or just know their deck pretty well, then they can be like, oh, well, maybe you want to play around this card. Because like I've had someone literally be like, I have these 2 plays, one of which plays around this card I think you might have in your hand, and this play, which is better objectively, but if you have that card, it's worse. And then I'm sitting there with that card in my hand, and I'm like, I think you should make the play, and then I have to be honest, like, maybe I'm never tricking them because it's a game for fun, right? But sometimes I'm like, you should make this play because I think it's better, but if I have this card, it's going to be worse. And then if I have that card, obviously it's, they walk into a trap or whatever. But yeah, making a lot of that stuff I think is pretty good. Someone did well in a challenge with no Blood Fountain, I think. Lots of graveyard hate right now, and it's not going to resolve. Might as well just run more threats. Yeah, there's a lot of graveyard hate for sure. I think you can, often you can still sneak out the Blood Fountain at the right time, but certainly I think cutting it down, or like I side them out sometimes in matchups where they have a lot of graveyard hate. So I can see it, but obviously in general it's a pretty good card. I need to do that more, actually testing rather than just playing. Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to get better, and so obviously like me doing this helps me a lot because I get a lot of feedback from very skilled players in chat or in comments or whatever, but also I'm talking through my plays, and then I'm like, oh, that didn't make sense, I should have done this instead. Or if I look back at my videos as I'm like recording or like editing them or whatever, then I have a lot more insight into my plays, like, oh, why did I do this when I was thinking this, and that's not as good, and I should have done this instead. I still make a ton of misplays, but that's just kind of part of it. But yeah, definitely just find ways to improve like that, talking with people, watching other people play the decks that you like to play, and seeing how they handle things. Yeah, and ideally you'll improve over time. Well, that was only 2 matches for this second league, but unfortunately it's late enough here. My own local Pauper's in about an hour and a half, but I gotta make dinner and stuff like that, so I'm gonna have to end the stream there. Alright, it's been a couple days since I played those first few matches, but we're jumping back into it now. And we have a reasonable opening hand. Cleansing Wildfire on turn 2, we're on the play. If we get an untapped land, we could play a Chrysalis on turn 3. And as always, when I stop a league and go and do something else. The overlay seems to be malfunctioning, thinking that we're just starting the match from scratch. Looks like we're against red something. I think we're just grabbing a... I guess if we get an untapped land that's not red or green, then I'm not going to be able to play the Chrysalis, so I probably need to grab red here, even though I kind of want some more black mana for like these guys. Yeah, because if we don't get anything now, we can play only one refurb and maybe just waste the other mana. That'd be unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Ooh, Manamorphose. I haven't actually seen any decks playing this, or I haven't played against them, but it's probably Red Rally with the Great Furnaces, and they're just playing it to thin the deck, basically make it a 56-card deck. Galvanic Blast, you know, there's some downsides. They have to use the mana right there. But 4 artifacts, blast us down. Untapped land. Okay, untapped land and a swamp. So actually we can still... Now, if I play this, I can single refurb. I can't double refurb. So yeah, we're just going for the Chrysalis either way. We're at 13. They have 4 cards in hand. So yeah, we could definitely use like some life gain. Lumbus would be a good draw. Toxin Analysis. Luckily, we have a good amount of blockers for if they go Rally. Discard a mountain with a blood token. That's a good sign that they don't have a lot going on. Or they just have a bunch of bird spells. But kick a Bushwhacker, not the end of the world. I can eat one and block all the other damage, which I don't have much to spend these spawn on anyway. So we might as well grow the Chris, sack, burn the mana, eat that. All right. Now we get to eat 2 of their cards from hand. Ooh, and we get a Drossforge Bridge. So yeah, play that. Refurb costs 2. Refurb costs 1. Now they're at 1 card in hand. 2 creatures on board and we're at 13. I'm feeling pretty good. Discard a Bushwhacker. I could swing with the Chrysalis. Then I probably have to trade with these guys. I think I'd rather just hold back and then I can start swinging with the refurbs. And then I don't have to even trade, I can just block. We could definitely use, you know, some card draw or something here, but we're in a pretty good spot, I think. They're going to pass the turn. Blood Fountain's not bad. I think we'll just ditch the blood token, since I don't think I'm likely to crack this turn. Bajuka Bog's irrelevant. Okay, cast down's not bad. Yeah, I think we'll just attack. If they get like a Rally or a Bushwhacker or something here, I can block one, I can cast down another. I might take 2 damage or something. If they have both a Rally and a Bushwhacker, could be a lot, but Tomb Raider and a Bushwhacker, okay. But I get to eat one, cast down the other. I'm taking 4, which, you know, that's more damage than I'd like to take, going down to 9, single digits, but block here, cast down the Tomb Raider, Landscape. Yeah, let's just cycle that. Gixian, okay. Play that, swing for 4. I could swing for 8. Then with cast down, I'm threatening lethal next turn. I'm at 9. They could get... What's the best they could get? Another Epicure, we go to 8, plus a Bushwhacker, I can block. Yeah, I think we attack with both. Or all 3, rather. Both the Familiars and the Chrysalis. Synth, okay. Reckless Impulse. I mean, that's all putting stuff on layaway. I have 4 damage in the air. If I cast down one of these and can just make the Gixian Infiltrator 4 power, then we have lethal, which I need to find a way to do, but they got a mountain and a burning tree. Pass. Okay, Spell Bomb. That's a redraw, and it triggers the Gixian. So now I just need to find, like, another Spell Bomb. Something that can crack for 2 mana or less. Okay, Spell Bomb doesn't do it. I can crack the Blood Fountain with no targets. So I attack, force a block here. Yeah, they gotta block both of these or they're gonna die. But if I cast down, then they can block here. They only take 7, so I might as well leave it because I needed 1 more mana for the Blood Fountain. But if they think, oh, this is only 7 damage and don't think about the fact that I can crack the Blood Fountain, then it could just be lethal. Or if they think their only way to win is by, you know, not jumping with both. I could also crack the Blood Fountain, and if they have a Bolt, they can kill this in response. But then they have a Valdarn Epicure, a Burning Tree Emissary, 1 card off the top. I guess they could crack the Synth. Huh. Burning Tree, crack Synth. I guess they couldn't also then Bushwhacker. Yeah, I think I just crack the Blood Fountain for lethal. I just think if they have the Bolt and they have to use it here, there's no way they can kill me anyway. Okay, they do have it. So obviously now that looks a little silly, but like, we eat their guy, they go to 4, we have a cast down, they have a Burning Tree Emissary, we have lethal in the air, we can, yeah, I don't know. It was definitely safer to play it the other way and more value, but I felt like we had a good shot of winning, and also I don't think we lose this way, but prepared to eat my words. I guess they drew a card and they cracked the Synth to draw another card, so if they get a Mountain and a Bushwhacker off of that, we could lose. Manamorphose, well, if they have a Mountain in hand, Manamorphose into a Bushwhacker, that could still do it. Ginger Brute, yeah, that's not going to cut it. They don't have the life, the mana to make this gain life, so we can attack for lethal. All right. I guess I was forgetting they had 2 cards, so maybe I was playing it a little close with the potential for another Bushwhacker. We'd already seen a couple Bushwhackers, so it was unlikely, but, you know, they could have had it. All right, we get Weather the Storm and Breath Weapon. We don't need Spell Bomb or Blood Fountain or Munitions. Cast Down's not super necessary either, so, like, Crypt Incursion could gain some life if we hit them with it. Yeah, I think that's decent. Duress is okay. Oof just blocks, and there are some relevant artifacts. I think those are better than Cast Downs. We'll keep 1 Cast Down, I suppose. All right, we are on the draw. We got a breath weapon, good mana. I think this one seems solid enough. I guess unless we're playing a Gixian Infiltrator to potentially die on turn 2, we don't have much till turn 3, but I'm kind of fine with that, and then the Breath Weapon can kind of just clean things up. Wellspring's a good draw too. They have the Burning Tree Emissary. They hesitated a little bit, so it feels like they probably don't have Rally, or maybe they have like Rally and a Rens Resolve and they're trying to weigh their options. Cast in the Fire. Yeah, that is always a concern. We draw it again. Yeah, I'll just cast it again. I mean, I could, or play it again. They could have another Cast in the Fire, so I could play a Twisted Landscape to play around that. That might be better. Manamorphose, Epicure, and another cast. They're doing it in response to the trigger, or maybe they just have the Bushwhacker here. Oh, they have nothing. Oh, well, that was great. 2 mana, they didn't do anything. That means they have to have just like burn spells and stuff. I don't know. That was very good for us. Yeah, I'm definitely just going to run out this Gixian. I'm happy to trade it with for a Tree Emissary or something. Burning Tree Emissary. We have the Breath Weapon for next turn. Yeah, we'll see. They discard a mountain. So yeah, their hand had to have been a bunch of lands or potentially burn spells they didn't want to use yet. But 2 mana that they didn't use meant... Okay, Cast in the Fire is annoying. 2 mana they didn't use meant they don't have Rens Resolve, Bushwhacker, they don't have Rally, or more Epicures, Tomb Raiders, any of that. We'll just take 1. If this is holding back the Emissary, I'm cool with that. Okay, so I could play another bridge. Obviously, I could get Cast in the Fire. Or I could just get a Wellspring down. That means I don't have red for a Breath Weapon the next turn, but as we determined, they already didn't have a bunch of those creatures in hand. They also didn't have a Cast in the Fire last turn because they would have used it, so that must have been their draw, one of their draws. So I think we just play the Wellsprings. It seems like they, and we draw our mountain anyway, so that's good. Seems like they don't have other creatures. Yeah. All right. Galvanic Blast, the Infiltrator, so be it. And they found a Bushwhacker. That is annoying. Down to 9. I'm obviously just going to leave up the Breath Weapon this turn then. Wait until they're combat so they can't have any other haste creatures without them getting weaponed away. Weather's good, although I need to get a green source for that. Rally. Fantastic. Love that they're just throwing that out there for the Breath Weapon. Mountain, 1 card left. Forest would be great because then I could just hold up Offering, Weather the Storm for if they cast anything. Okay. I could still just Offering here in case I get the Forest. I think that's probably worth it. I'm not going to have to discard or anything either way. Okay. Yeah, we need to get our green, so let's play a Landscape and pass. I mean, between Weather the Storm and Pulse, unless they have a really good turn here, I think we're going to be able to stabilize. Great Furnace isn't going to do it. Pull out a Forest. Another Cleansing Wildfire. Okay, I think I'm going to just Cleansing here. Pull out another green and pass. We'll hold up Weather if they get like a couple cards to cast, like a synth into something else, or we have Offering. Ooh, Reckless Impulse. Okay, so we could have a Rally and Tomb Raider. Those are good, but we got the Weather the Storm. Nice. So they could hit us for 4, but we gain 12 here. Yeah, great turn to hold up Weather the Storm. Up to 17. The only creature I have to pulse back is the Gixian Infiltrator. Not really the card I want. So let's just Wildfire this bridge. I could have Wildfired their Great Furnace actually to shrink their guy, but I think I'd rather just find removal. Let's play a Wellspring. All right. And we'll Bojuka Bog them, leave up our Offering. So hopefully in our 3 or 4 draws till next turn, we can find something, because we are taking 4 damage here. If we just draw all lands, we could definitely still die, especially if they are accumulating some burn. But there's a Refurb. That's nice. Chris would be great. Another Refurb, okay. 3, yeah, so let's just take their cards away. Great Furnace, and a Smash to Smithereens they didn't use. Okay, pretty good. Let's map onto one of these, because maybe we can have it big enough to eat a soldier. They have a Wellspring on top. Sure, I'll leave that on top. Play a bridge. Yeah, I'll map onto the other one and still leave that on top. Now they can't attack with their soldiers like at all because these are both 3/2s. Percussionist. They just swing here. I think I'll just take 2. I could block actually and Pulse and Marasa. Maybe that's better. Well, we lagged. I already passed through it. It's okay. Cycle this. Get a Wellspring. Crypt Incursion. Oh, we Bojuka Bogged their graveyard? Well, that was foolish. Kind of forgot about that. 1, 2, 3. Only 3. Well, that's fine. All right, let's play a Wellspring. Lembas, that's a good draw. Toxin Analysis is nice. Play a bridge, and we'll pass. Bushwhacker. Okay, that's pretty good. That does let them attack with these guys again. We want to kill their actual creatures because of this Crypt Incursion. So let's block here, here. Go for a Toxin to gain a little bit of life. Deal damage. We go down to 8. We could Pulse Marasa, but let's be mana efficient and Insight the Wellspring and crack a Clue. Maybe I should have just cracked the Lembas there, but that's okay. Troublemaker Oof to get rid of the Percussionist is nice. Refurb is a redraw. Let's play that. There's Chris. Sack the spawn. Exile the percussionist. Sack here. Pulse back. Not their creature, thank you. Refurb. Gain enough life. Refurb them. Play a bridge and pass. I think we're doing okay now. Alright, so despite the overlay, we're 3-0 right now. Look, right up there. Alright, we have a reasonable opening hand here, since the landscape can grab black. So we'll just do that. Ponder, sack for a swamp, and Spellbomb. So they could be Terror, probably Terror, or it could be like Dimir or Izzet with the Ponder, but probably not Izzet because no snow-covered islands. Probably mono blue. So Spellbomb could be good to get down, but I kind of think just getting an Infiltrator down could be decent. I don't know. They play an island. We'll swing for 2, and I guess Spellbomb resolving would probably be more important, so we'll play a Wellspring. It gets countered, we can get a Spellbomb through, which can grow the Infiltrator, it can blow up the graveyard. There's another Ponder. Ooh, Vault is pretty good. That lets us play our Refurbs. Let's play one of these, because if they counterspell it, I might just crack the Spellbomb, which would grow the Infiltrator, so I'd want the damage. Demon Furier. Yeah, so they're definitely mono blue. So I could crack Spellbomb here, or I could Refurb and then Spellbomb. I'm going to lose out on a card draw, though. That doesn't seem very good. So I think we're just going to swing and then crack the Spellbomb in their draw step so that we don't see any terrors. And if they cycle or anything here, then we'll also be able to get those. Draw off the Infiltrator, or get a counter on the Infiltrator, rather. Then they Demon Furier. Yeah, do I want this back? I have Blood Fountain, Refurb. It seems kind of aggressive, like it's a 2-drop. Yeah, I think we'll take it. I think we kind of have like a decent aggro start here on them. Here I can play Blood Fountain, Refurb. Correct doesn't do much. Swing for 2. Yeah, this is 2 mana. I could also just Refurb Insight, but I don't really want to Insight right now, I don't think. Let's just play the Blood Fountain. Probably get rid of this Krark with the blood at some point, but for now, they're going to Mental Note, consider in an island. I could Blood Fountain now, but I know my top card is a Gixian, so no reason to do that. They discard a Force Spike, so they're at 4. There's a Terror. If I sack this now, I'm losing a counter on the Gixian Infiltrator. Don't know how much that matters. It could. Yeah, let's just save it, I guess. Swing. Also, if we cast the Infiltrator and they counter it, I'll probably just Insight the Blood token. And they just let it go right away. Play an island. Play another Terror for 5. That's fine. Another Terror. Serpent, yeah, so let's... I could crack the Blood Fountain because this can already crack, but that doesn't seem like it makes much sense. Let's just crack this. Spellbomb. Yeah, a little late on the second Spellbomb, but... They do have lethal through blockers, or like if they get rid of all the blockers, I can just Spellbomb their grave here, or I could just hold up Blood Fountain. I guess if they attack with everybody, I have to chump, which means I'm not going to have lethal on them. Let's just... I could hold up Blood Fountain and then just double Refurb. Yeah, wait. I could double block, double Refurb them again next turn. No, I don't think so. I think we just Spellbomb, see what we get here. Offering, okay. Play this. So I could swing for 4 and then block, trade. We go to 5, we don't have lethal. Or I could just block here, block with one of these, we hit them down to 8. This could be lethal next turn, so they have to leave something back. I kind of like that a little better. I think we swing with one of these. They swing with the team. They must have drawn something good, or they're just jamming in. I'm going to Fanatical Offering the Refurb. Grows here. They pass. I mean, if they don't have like a... Okay, they just attacked for no reason, even though we had lethal on them. I mean, they were in a tough spot, I guess, because of the double Refurbs coming in, but they could have attacked with 2 of these, not died. I don't know. We get Pyroblasts, Duresses, Spellbomb. I think that's it. Munitions is no good. I don't mind, like, a Krark, maybe. Cast downs are good. Pulse doesn't seem super necessary. Blood Fountains are slow. Maybe we just keep, like, 1 Toxin, 1 Krark. It's going to make it hard to make the combo, but if we get 1 Toxin, we can use it with a Refurb to some decent effect. If we get 1 Krark, maybe we're in the position to sacrifice 5 artifacts. Sure. I think Duresses are better, so that's what I'm prioritizing. All spells. Alright, Pachuca Bog's nice. Duress. Yeah, this hand looks solid. Get rid of one of the Wellsprings. So I could start with the Drawsforge Bridge. If they steal Sabotage it, it's really annoying. So I could Vault. They could still do it, but I could Duress. But then we have nothing to play on turn 2. We're going to Bridge and hope we don't get sabotaged. Alright, we didn't. Not there anyway. Nice. Okay, so we saw Force Spike, so I could play around that for the Duress. I kind of feel like they're not doing anything, so I don't need to do anything though yet. Let's just pass. Then next turn I can like Duress and then Blood Fountain Refurb maybe. They counterspell it. Then I Refurb. Then they annul. I could also just keep passing. Let's play a Wellspring. That's not super important if it gets countered. And if it doesn't, I think, especially with the Red Blast, now I'll just pass. I guess next turn I kind of want to Duress, Red Blast, like fight over stuff, and then Pachuca Bojuka Bog them. Nice. They're brainstorming. That probably means they're missing out on a land drop so far. Otherwise, they might just keep holding it, I assume. Mental Note. Yeah, that's fine. Deep Analysis, Force Spike, Island. Now we can duress and fight over stuff and then Bojuka Bog them. Oh, they flash back the Deep Analysis. Sure. They're going to discard. So still get... Ooh, they discard a Serpent. So they're flooded with creatures, it looks like. Yeah, so I could duress, then refurb, hold up a Red Blast, and then... Yeah, so they have 4 Serpents. Brainstorm. Brainstorm is better if they find a discard spell. A Mental Note, I mean. Ponder's better otherwise. Kind of think I take the Brainstorm, and then I refurb. I'll probably discard a Serpent. No, they discard the Dispel. Nice. So now we get to Bojuka Bog, blow up their graveyard. They're left with 4 Serpents and a Ponder. I might even just Red Blast the Ponder, to be honest. In fact, I think I certainly will. Just stall them longer, since their hand is kind of garbage. Feels good. They didn't have a counterspell there. I'm going to go for a Fanatical to draw some cards. I'd love to find like a Gixian or more refurbs, ways to deal some more damage. Ooh, Spellbomb's not bad for if they start getting close to a Serpent. Cycle Alorian, so that's going to be 6, so they still can't cast one. So let's... By doing this, I'm not holding up green, or I'm not getting green this turn, so no Chris, but that's okay. Duress, but we know 4 of their cards are creatures. Swing for 1. Play another refurb. I assume we'll see a discarded Serpent here. Discard the Cryptic Serpent and play a Blood Fountain. Let's see, they have enough they can play a Serpent here, but then I just get to cast it down. That's fine. Alright, 5 mana Terror. They're also salting off a little bit at us for not wanting to split. So I could just Red Blast. I probably should have just Red Blasted on the stack, but I can also just... Let's see, they have 2... Yeah, crack this for green. Probably don't need this duress. Swing for 4. I could cast down, but actually now I can just Chris, hold up Red Blast, cast down. I guess I'd probably just blow up their graveyard so they can't do another Terror unless they draw an island. And then if they do, I Red Blast it, then I can cast this down. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Well, might as well wait till the draw step again. Spell Bomb. Don't even need to draw. They ponder, that's fine. All right, after a little more salt, we're able to take the match and playing for the trophy now. All right, last match here. A little Wellspring flooded, but we're on the play, and otherwise we have a pretty good couple cards. So, and our mana's nice. 2 lands, all 3 colors. So I think we're in an okay spot. Take that draw stop off now. Okay, we're against Rakdos Madness, so this could be a little fast for what our opening hand is. But of course, we're just trying to draw to some more stuff. Ooh, that's a bit annoying. Maybe I should have just played the tap land because I might want to Spellbomb here if they go for a Snacker. I think it's probably still better to do it this way just because I have so many 2-drops that if I played Bridge, Spellbomb, next turn, I play a 2-drop and hold up the Spellbomb, but it's not as efficient. All right, but they have a Jagged Barrens, so that's not going to be a Snacker, which is nice. Epicure, so that means I'm probably going to play Landscape, hold up Spellbomb and Offering. Yeah, because I want to play the Landscape. This way I can, if they go for something from the grave, I can draw a card off Spellbomb, crack the Landscape. Otherwise, I can just crack the Offering on the Wellspring. Swing for 1. They plot a Highway Robbery and play a Carnarium. So we're going to draw here. And while they're tapped out, some refurbs would be decent, especially with the Spellbomb. There's one. Ooh, Toxin could be good too. We already have 3 artifacts, so let's start with a refurb. And with Toxin now, we really want to hit a Chris or Gixian, I mean, as soon as possible. Discard an Epicure. If I map onto this, I can block. Then they might just kill it, but that's fine. It still eats 3 damage. Or I could just Wellspring and play a tap land. No, I kind of want the ability to be able to block, I guess. Yeah, let's just do this. Or we get another land off of it, obviously. And we do. Not quite what we wanted. I think I'd rather get one of these Wellsprings down. I guess this means unless we get another untapped land. Ooh, okay. Really flooded. We can't play a Chris if we draw it because of how I did that, but I probably will just trade, although it's our only creature with the Toxin, but 2 life is not that much, and we'll be losing 1 of the life by taking the Epicure this turn and by taking it next turn, so I think we'll just trade. Obviously, this is also worse against Kitchen Imp, but they didn't have it this turn, so... And we have the answer to a Snacker, so I think we just want to minimize damage. Alright, they play the Robbery. There's the Kitchen Imp, okay. Yeah, just wanted it to dodge the refurb. I think that's smart. Replay the Jagged Barrens. 6 cards in hand, dang. And they have like an Alms of the Vein here. Another Kitchen Imp. Jeez, okay. Well, this flooding doesn't help. Okay, that's really good. I'm going to hope we don't die from 15 here. I mean, they can put us to 11. 11's a good amount to deal with 4 or 5 mana. But if we can keep this alive... Let's see, how much... I can only sacrifice 1, 2 right now. which means if they try to kill it, it's probably just going to die, because it dies to any bolt. I don't think they're running Galvanic Blast based on the mana base we've seen. Well, I guess these are the only 3 lands we've seen, so I don't know. Yeah, I kind of think we just start with a Wellspring. Play the Infiltrator, hope it survives, hope for the best. And if it does, we can Toxin it next turn for a bunch. We'll get a Draw Storage down. Yeah, I think that's our best way to win. They don't kill the Infiltrator. We can grow it with Spellbomb, Landscape, Fanatical, Map. The map might give it another counter. Clue token. Can we all do all that for the mana we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think so. They play another Barons. So we're at 10. Swing for 4. End the festivities. Well, we have the Spell Bomb. We need to keep this alive. Hopefully they don't have another one and they're just trying to use the Spell Bomb up this way. Or maybe they didn't even think about the Spell Bomb and this just hits us for 1. But like now they could get a Snacker on the field, but that's not my issue if I can get this big enough to Toxin. But that was our 1, so any other removal spell kills the Infiltrator. There's a Faithless. Discard a Fiery Temper and a Swamp. Hopefully they go face, thinking that they gotta go for it, because clearly they didn't have 2 things to Madness and they're tapped out. Okay, so Toxin Analysis, we start with a Fanatical, because we can also draw untapped lands and things like that. This is gonna grow. We should be able to gain like 7 to 10 life here. Chris is good for next turn. So map, 1, 2, sack. Yeah, map onto it. Hope we don't hit a land. We really don't need another land. Cleansing Wildfire. I mean, that doesn't do that much. Let's just put that into the graveyard. I guess also we're sacking this, so it doesn't matter what we have there. Yeah. Sack this to grow. Pull out. We have a lot of just black 1-drops. So I'm just going to pull out another black here. Play this bridge. Toxin. So yeah, we can gain 7, go up to 13. So they can put us down to 9. They discarded a Swamp though, so they didn't have an Alms of the Vein or another Kitchen Imp. They could have another Fiery Temper and just didn't have the red mana for it. I don't know. Even if they kill this now, we're set up for next turn. Like, we got our life bump, and now we flood the board with these guys. There's a Looting. Another Kitchen Imp. Is annoying, but again, we have the blockers for it this following turn. We're down to 7 here, though. I guess if they just have, like, 2 bolts and they discarded an Epicure, which is pretty good. So yeah, it feels like we might die here. 2 bolts and a Barons or an Epicure. Vampire's Kiss, down to 5. Okay, I can't imagine I could deal 15 here. I have to sack 8 more things. The Refurbs also could give them a Madness trigger here, which would be a little annoying. I don't think... Yeah, we cast Chrysalis here. Sack for a Clue token. I guess the only other way we have to gain life in the main deck... No, we have a Lembas. Oh yeah, Lembas we can't do here, and Pulsa Marasa we don't have green for. So we just sack a Clue. We are hitting for 10, but not quite there. Cast down, but we might as well just double refurb them. I could actually hit for 11. We might as well. Yeah, if they have a way to remove one of our refurbs, then it's the same as casting it down, except it's more mana. Let's pull this out. And we got to cast these. Obviously, if they have a Fiery Temper and then they have something else, that's pretty good. But like, if they have that, they're going to kill us regardless. And this at least limits their resources a little bit. They discard Grab the Prize. That's pretty good. And they discard a Lightning Bolt. That means they probably had another Lightning Bolt because they would have cast that in response. Yeah, so we're down to 2. All right. Here's hoping they don't draw anything that deals damage, because anything kills us. Faithless Looting. Discard Snacker, Vampire's Kiss. Okay. If they had Looting from the graveyard, then they could have cast the Kiss, because they could have kept a card. But this time, now they have to find a flashback spell. They don't find anything. Or not Flashback of Madness. Oh, if they had just Faithless Looting from the graveyard, they would have had 2 mana left. They could have Vampire's Kiss. But now, I can cast down, and then they die. Because they can block, they take 4. Oh, that was so close. Able to get there. Alright, we get Weather the Storm, Spellbomb, Duress, and Crypt Incursion could be... I guess Crypt isn't good enough. They only play like 12 creatures. We only play like 12 creatures. Yeah, Krarks are no good. Makeshift, no. Blood Fountains are kind of unnecessary. And Cast Down is fine, but not the best, so we can cut one of those. I mean, we have a good amount of life gain. Duresses are nice. We're going to hope to get this one. Alright, 1 land, not going to cut it. 2 lands. Ooh, yeah, we're going to try it. Bog can be good, but 2 tap lands is rough. I think we got to get rid of a Weather the Storm, as good as they are in this match. We have 2. We don't currently have green. We need the card draw. Duress is going to be good too. And I think Bojuka Bog can have some real value. I think we start with the bridge, even though it could be cast into the fire. I kind of wanted them to just turn 1 Faithless Looting, a couple Snackers that I could bog away, but didn't happen. Okay, Vampire's Kiss, not the worst 2-drop I've ever seen. All we have here is Duress, so might as well use that first. And then Bog. All right. Double Bolt, Robbery, Looting. Well, we're taking the Robbery. Bojuka Bog. Okay, so they just have Faithless, 2 bolts. That's not the worst. We need to hit a land, though, with our Draw Step or Wellspring, ideally. They find a Snacker. That's kind of annoying. Bin it to the blood right away. Carnarium back a land, and then they can Faithless. That's pretty good. Oh, they're not gonna? Surely you have to at least discard something else to get the Snacker back. I guess they could Faithless next turn, but now I just have a free turn of not taking 2 damage. I love that. Or if I could like graveyard, if I got a spell bomb, that'd be really good. All right, I'm not just gonna play an Infiltrator here. We're gonna play the Wellspring. Yeah, if I get a tap land, I want to play this first. Yeah, that's a tap land. We need our green. That's actually really good. Nice, because that means I can Chrysalis next turn, or I could like Insight or Infiltrator and then Weather the Storm. Probably try to save the Weather the Storm if I can for like a late turn where they use both bolts. All right, they're gonna Faithless. Bring back Snacker. Discard another Snacker and an Epicure, not the worst. Vampire's Kiss. Sack this for green, and Cast Down's not bad. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just playing a Chris to be able to block. Yeah, we're gonna try to save these spawn for the Infiltrator. I mean, if we block and they bolt this, I'll sack a spawn and I'll trade that for the Snacker. That's not bad. All right, they got an Alms of the Vein. I will leave up Weather the Storm probably next turn. I could leave up, yeah, if I keep all my spawn, I could leave up Weather, Insight, and Cast Down. Then if they cast even just like 2 spells, I can make it gain me 15. That sounds like probably what I want to do. They did Alms of the Vein me here, and then Extract a Confession. Okay, that's annoying. Can't do anything about it. I lose the Chrysalis, and they just have 2 bolts in hand. All right, we'll take 2 Wellspring. Okay, actually, maybe I play Infiltrator here, and then I hold up Insight and Weather the Storm with the spawn so the Infiltrator can start growing. This way I can make a clock. I can also just I can make a big guy if I find like my Toxin. That'd be good too. We're taking 2 here. We're down to 9, so if they get like a 3rd bolt, they might also just go for it, hoping I don't have the Weather the Storm, which obviously is not going to play out well for them. We'll take 2 here. I might also just bolt the Infiltrator, but I can grow it in response by quite a bit. Discard another Snacker. Man, wish I had a Spell Bomb right now. Yep, discard a Barons. They get 2 Snackers back without casting a single spell. Bolt us. Sure. Bolt us again. Yeah. You have the 3rd bolt? Hell yes. This is exactly what we wanted. Insight away the Wellspring, and then Weather the Storm. I was worried when they just ditched a bunch of stuff to get the Snackers, but now we basically just triple counterspelled and gained 6. Pretty good. Up to 15. Chris is a great draw after that. What are we doing? I think I'm just playing, I guess to play it the most safe. Let's play this. Play Chris. Play Wellspring off of these 2 so we can hit for a bunch, and then just hold up Cast Down. So if they kill the Chris, I can at least kill one of the Snackers. Because we could still die if we take like 6 and then 6 again in a bolt or something. Because my alternative, oh well, that's even better. Oh, I actually only have 2 artifacts. Well, never mind. Oh, and I'm not holding up Cast Down. Well, that was silly. I thought I was so big brain. I'm not holding up Cast Down because I got rid of the spawn, but my thought was, oh, well, I'll hold up Cast Down just in case, as opposed to playing the Landscape where I could have gotten this a little bit bigger, and it ended up being a worse bad play, but still looks like it might be fine. They're going to do this. They might bolt the Chrysalis, or they might just be doing this to get some damage, or they have a draw 2, like Faithless from the graveyard, to get the Snacker back. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Alms of the Vein and a Snacker. Okay. Discard a Mountain. We're at 8, and they got an Epicure, I would definitely love another life gain spell to make me a little more comfortable. Play Wellspring. Perfect. I appreciate what you're trying to do for me. Toxin Analysis on the Infiltrator will gain us a whole bunch. The rest doesn't matter. Might as well gain the extra 1 though here. So we're hitting for, or actually I can gain 2 because I can, I won't sack this, I'll sack it to the Clue actually. So we can gain 8 here up to 15. Yeah, I think I just smack with the Chrysalis too. Toxin. So yeah, I could sack Landscape, but it's just as much as sacking the Clue, which is more mana efficient, so let's do that. Hit for 12. We go up to 15 again. We have a blocker. So now Gixion's pretty much going to be lethal. We have double Cast Down. Yeah, we're sitting in a pretty good spot. I swing with everything. That's 7. Could they deal us 8? I feel like probably not. If they have 1 blocker to block here, actually it doesn't matter if they have a blocker because I can just Cast Down. And these guys are lethal. Yeah, I might as well block the Epicure, I guess. I can block the Snacker, which blocks the most damage. It does come back. But I guess if I'm planning to win this turn, I should have probably blocked the Snacker, just in case there's some world where they can, like, win. All right. And managed to pull off a trophy. Pretty nice. Always love to see it. So yeah, I hope those last couple games were able to show off why I love having a Toxin Analysis in the deck with the Infiltrators. Obviously, it doesn't work with the Krark Infiltrator combo, but this is just a nice combo. Now, these are a nice combo, and also Infiltrator Toxin is a nice combo. So you have this nice triangle of any 2 cards there is really, really strong in certain matchups, and honestly, sometimes it makes me want to have an extra Toxin in there, but, the room is really tight for sure. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.